Cowboys OT is brought to you by Sleep Number. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeti, officially licensed Yeti Cowboys gear, is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concession, and on Yeti.com. And by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com.
In the shadow of the Charlotte skyline, the Dallas Cowboys cannot figure out how to slow down the Carolina Panthers. 30-27, the final score. The first time Dallas has fallen on the road to Carolina since 2018. Welcome in to Cowboys OT from the Globe Life Studios at the Star in Frisco, alongside former Cowboys Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans. This one was an ugly one, gentlemen, and it's one that's kind of tough to swallow. Dak Prescott played well. George Pickens played well. Jake Ferguson had his fourth touchdown in the last 3 games. Yet you could not slow down Carolina. The defense really struggled, and the run game was non-existent for this entirety of this game. Nate, I'll start with you on this one. Where do you go first when you look back at the Week 6 loss to Carolina?
Just not being able to stop the run. We were told that we had to buckle up, and a young man, Rico Dowdle, that was here and left here, told us that. And he can, for 30 carries, 183 yards, 6 point, 1 carry as a team, 216 yards, 5.7 yard average. They ate up all the time, 32 minutes, and so they controlled the clock. They kept Bryce Young from trying. We should have put the game in Bryce Young's hand, but instead we put it in Rico Dowdle's hands, and he delivered not only through the run, but with a nice pass, a touchdown pass.
Yeah, Nate, this one was ugly. This one was ugly for Cowboys fans, the team, everybody involved. I mean, you know, nothing's for granted when you talk about the National Football League, but this is one that the Cowboys had to have circled on the schedule as we got to get this W. We got to win here. We got to stomp this team out. And the exact opposite happened. Like you said, Rico going into the week said, hey, these boys better buckle up, and he did exactly what he said he was going to do. You know, he's going to run through this team, and that's exactly what happened this afternoon. And when you look at it defensively, it's just unsustainable. You can't let offenses have it both ways. Nate, you talked about it in the first word. You can't let a team rush for over 200 yards and then be able to throw the ball as well. You got to shut down some type of system when you talk about that, whether they're just going to shut down the run and maybe they get some explosive passes or have explosive passes, but they don't get anything in the run game. This team was able to do both, and as a defense, you can't win that way.
I'm going to throw a stat line out there that most people typically kind of graze right past, kind of blow right past, that really tells the story here. Dallas Cowboys had 15 first downs today. 15 first downs. 1 by rushing, 12 by passing, 2 by penalty. The Panthers had 27 first downs, 14 by rushing.
Wow.
11 by passing, 2 by penalty. 14 conversions of first downs. That's what is the story of this game. They controlled the line of scrimmage. And when you control the line of scrimmage and you're at home and you're not turning the ball over, you win ball games.
And that's ultimately what ended up happening in this one. Let's see how we got to this point to start. Of course, like Nate Newton said earlier, there was a chance to buckle up, and Rico Dowdle presented that challenge early on as well. So we take a look at the highlights in this one. It was a chance for Rico Dowdle to go up against his former team, Javonte Williams. On the other side, we'll see if he could get going in this one as well. We start on the defensive end. In the first quarter, both teams traded field goals. Tetaroa McMillan drops this pass. Donovan Wilson on top of it. He's there. His second pick of the season has Dallas in the red zone. Barry, he stepped up, at least in the turnover category, over these last few weeks.
Yeah, tips and overthrows, you know how it goes. You got to get those, and that's exactly what Donovan Wilson was able to do. Great catch right there. Got his feet underneath him eventually, and I was able to strike down the sidelines. Good play by Donovan Wilson.
Yeah, he was pushed out of bounds, and then a personal foul against Rico Dowdle tacked on 15 more. Setting up this play, this is a 4th and 1, and it is a Hunter Lipke touchdown. First play of the second quarter to get that one done. Carolina would answer. It would take just 6 plays for them to find Tetaroa McMillan in the end zone. His first touchdown of his rookie season. That ties us all back up at 10 as McMillan gets open on the broken play, and Carolina gets the score. Next drive for Dallas, Jake Ferguson. He's just showing off at this point. His 4th touchdown in the last 3 games. Dallas retakes the lead. Panthers would have a field goal to cut the lead to 4 into the halftime break. Into the 3rd quarter we go. There's the open pass. Rico Dowdle reaching for the end zone, as Nate alluded to earlier. Didn't just make an impact on the ground. He made an impact through the air as Carolina's leading receiver. Dallas's leading receiver was George Pickens. He works open for the touchdown. Into the 4th quarter we go. Dallas up by 4. But Carolina, to start the frame, would work it on the goal line. 1st and goal. Bryce Young shrugs off a sack. He finds Teteroa McMillan in the back of the end zone for 6. Dallas would tie it up with a field goal. Carolina driving to take the lead on 3rd down and long. Chance to get off the field. Kai Elam is called for the pass interference. He makes the early contact on Xavier Legette, and that would continue the drive for Carolina. That would become a theme. 4th down and 3, another chance for Dallas to get off the field. This throw to Hunter Renfrow just inside of Deron Bland. He holds on to make the grab, and then they just have to get in the field goal range. Rico Dowdle does that right here, a 9-yard run. They are within field goal range for Ryan Fitzgerald, and that would set up a 33-yard chip shot off the right hash mark. This one right down the middle would do it. 30-27, the final score. Carolina and Rico Dowdle upset the Cowboys, and they do so in emphatic fashion. Brian Schottenheimer's team falls to 2-3-1, suffering their first loss against the Panthers since 2018. Some of the final stats brought to you by Miller Lite. Cowboys fall 30-27 to give up over 400 yards of total offense and 200 rushing yards on the ground. When we come back, we're going to hear from Coach Schottenheimer, his thoughts as the Cowboys fall to Rico Dowdle and the Panthers. More to come with Cowboys OT next.
This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
So I'm right here with Calvin Gregory.
Hide.
Sorry. Thank you. Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Why do you think he had so many problems against the run today?
I want to look at it. They controlled the game, on both sides, and you got to give them credit for that. We knew they were a physical football team. We weren't surprised by that, but they were able to run it, and we weren't. And this is a game where you got to win the line of scrimmage, and we didn't win the line of scrimmage today. I told the team that. It's disappointing, but I got to give them a lot of credit. They ran hard, they blocked well, and we have to be better, and we'll look at it and we'll get it fixed.
Do you believe you have the personnel to work with Fluce's scheme?
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. We got to coach better. We got to play better. The physicality of it all. We're a physical football team. We didn't show it today. Give them credit. And we have to be better. And it's not just the defense; it was the offense. Yeah, we threw the ball all over the yard, and that was great. But at the end of the day, we want to be balanced, and we weren't able to do that today. And we got to look at that as an offensive staff and see what they did to stop the run.
All right, so the Dallas Cowboys, how demoralizing is it as a play call offense when you have to be perfect? You can't blink.
I don't look at it that way. You're just playing the game. Hey, our defense made some big stops in the 4th quarter. We weren't able to punch the ball in, when they stop them, we got to capitalize. And I think, again, we got to the 4th quarter, which is what we always say. You say you can't win the game in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We got to the 4th quarter, had a chance to win. They outscored us 10-3, and, we got to be able to score touchdowns down in the red zone, and we didn't do that.
The last drive, when you got the ball, it was 6-7 minutes left. Everything went backwards.
Yeah.
What wrong with the 2 screens, swing passes, screen passes?
Well, the first one was a screen, and they stiffed it out. The phasing wasn't very good, so we couldn't get to the corner. The other ones weren't screens. They were check downs. And, this team does a good job of batting the ball, and they did that. But, they played very passive when they got ahead of the sticks, Clarence. They played pretty passive on 2nd and 3rd down, so they forced us to check it down, and they took it away.
You can catch the entire Brian Schottenheimer press conference on DallasCowboys.com following the end of it as we welcome you back into Cowboys OT. We've got Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Cowboys fall to the Panthers 30-27. Coach Schottenheimer talked about it there. It's not all on the defense, and the offense had their opportunity following a defensive stop in the fourth quarter. But when you look at it, the defense played a big role in losing this matchup, 30-27. Where do you start if you're Coach Schottenheimer, an offensive coach who has the offensive numbers to back it up, but for the most part having some struggles on the defensive side?
I understand what he said out there, saying it's more of a team, loss than anything. But if you're in that locker room, you're on that coaching staff, you understand what happened. The defense got embarrassed in this game. I mean, it's simple as that. This was one of the more simple forms of football that there is. There wasn't a bunch of trick, gimmick plays or spread offense where they spread everybody out and try to make up matchups. This was man-on-man, mano-a-mano. We're going to get you in 12 personnel, get you in 21 personnel, and we're just going to run the football right down your throat. And that's exactly what this Panthers team was able to do. Kudos to them. Like Coach Schottenheimer said, kudos to this Panthers unit. They went out there and they punished and bullied our defense. But make no mistakes about it. This wasn't a trick 'em, gick 'em type of game. It was a pure right down your throat. Ugly game for the Dallas Cowboys, and the Panthers were able to come out on top.
Just got to get better. This team has the makeup in their mind. I heard Coach say that. I heard the coach say, and I want to make sure I say it right, is that on their defense they made them check down. But what about our defense? When are we going to make someone check down? When are we going to come up and make a tackle? When are we going to be excited about getting the other team off the field? Just a hard situation.
They pulled the man card today. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. The Carolina Panthers and Rico Dowdle pulled the man card of the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow.
And there's some questions that are now going to be hovering around. And you heard Coach doing his best to defend his team and not throw anybody underneath the bus. Yes, he is absolutely correct that your running game was non-existent today, and you have to be balanced because your quarterback is the best play-action quarterback in the game. So if you don't allow for him to have the running game, then he can't throw for over 80% completion because you don't have the effectiveness of an actual play-action. There's no threat of the run. So, yes, he's right in that regard. But for the last 5 weeks, you've had some serious concerns about your defense and the capability of not only stopping the run, but also giving up explosive plays, as Barry mentioned earlier. There's issues. There's a fox in the stable right now, and you got to figure out exactly how the heck to get it out of there because you cannot continue going forward like this. Now, how do you go about that? I'm not paid like a head coach, right? So that is for Shotty to figure out, but he's got to figure out sooner or later because we know the monster that is hanging over this team, and that is the second half of this season. The schedule that they have. The first half of this year was to get ahead or at least remain even with the injuries that you've had. Now you're behind the 8 ball, and you still have the remaining schedule. You got to figure it out quick, otherwise the season's going to get out of hand.
Yeah, it's certainly the case. And Isaiah, he's not paid like a head coach right now, but his resume is out there for those that may want it moving forward. He's got a DC as well. He's got DC to work with it. We've got more coming your way on Cowboys OT. When we come back, we'll hear from Dak Prescott as he talks about the 30-27 loss.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys struggled on the ground offensively, but the passing game was working. Dak Prescott finishes 25 for 34, over 200 yards through the air, and 3 more passing touchdowns without an interception. Here's what he had to say following the 30-27 loss to Carolina on the road.
How frustrating is it not to be able to get the ball back? And it's demoralizing. You guys have to be perfect because you guys blinked there at that fourth quarter when you last time you had the ball with like 7 minutes left and then you get a chance to get the ball back.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's demoralizing, but I definitely say it's frustrating, right? Like, just even the last time you have the ball, probably was not our best series of the game right there. I mean, other than the 3-and-out to start the game off, and in a crucial point like that, we just can't do that. And on top of that, right, that being the last time that we touched the ball, it makes it frustrating. But that's the NFL. You trust that those guys are going to go get a stop. Unfortunately, we had a PI call on the 3rd down. Then after that, right, they just kind of ate the clock up, kept running the ball, and did a good job. They won the 4th quarter, and that's the NFL. We won the turnover battle, and don't know the big plays, but they won the 4th quarter, and that was the difference there. And a team that's obviously second-year coach, young quarterback playing well, getting better, young running back, right, that we're familiar with. He told us to buckle up, and he went and had a hell of a game. And credit to them. They got the best, and they're the better team this afternoon.
What was open up for you and Pickens? It seemed like he was having the ball out there today.
I mean, he's just an elite receiver. He's an elite receiver. He's playing hard. He's understanding everything that we throw at him, whether it's in different positions. You saw him in the slot a lot more today, making big plays. And then after he gets the ball in his hand, some of the things he does is just only George can do. So he's just a special player. We're lucky to have him, and we're only going to get better each game.
Can you just talk about the joy he's playing with? It seems like he's just having fun. Beyond
For sure.
The plays, he just.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. It's contagious at that. I mean, obviously, I'm having a blast, but when you get to throw it to a guy like that and he makes a catch and you watch him do make the people miss afterwards, try to jump over him. He loves football, and you see it on Sunday. I see it all throughout the week. I mean, there's plays at practice, whether he catches a touchdown and does his celebration or catches a big play and, act like he's or I don't want to say act like it, preparing to, cut back and make people miss. That's who he is. That's the way he approaches every day when he comes in. And we're crazy fortunate to have him, but you see that every day that he touches that field, and when he's around the guys, he loves his teammates and he loves the game of football, and it's contagious and it's fun to watch.
Todd Archer with ESPN. You said after the Green Bay game, these next two games will show you what kind of team you have after these last two games. What do you know about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we can play with anyone, but it's the NFL, and we've got to make sure that we're locked in, because you can lose any game, and that's the beauty of the NFL, the parity. That's why the draft set up the way it is. It's why free agent is the way it is, and it's great. It's great. I mean, you get into a game like this, and you feel like you're going to win every second. Even the field goal block right there, Sam's jumping over, and with the block. In my mind, we're still going to block it, and we're going to go win this thing in overtime. So we got a good team that's grimy. We've got to find a way to win these games. That's the missing chink in the armor right now, is whether it's the tied game or this game. We've got to find a way to win games, and if we do that, we feel a whole lot different in the locker room. Now, the reality is the team different. Not necessarily, but you feel a lot better. You're taking confidence, and when you get that confidence, that allows you to feel more confident at the end of games, understanding and knowing, I guess you can say, and believing that you're going to pull it out. So right now, we just got to find a way to win the fourth quarter.
Were you hoping that they almost let him score there?
I want to give credit where credit is due. That question from ESPN's Todd Archer was phenomenal, and you could tell the pause after Dak was asked, what is this team after these last two games? A win against New York, a loss against Carolina, both on the road. You could tell that pause from Dak Prescott spoke 1,000 words. Isaiah, your instant reaction after hearing what Dak had to say there.
Shout out to Todd Archer. You pulled the receipts, and Dak had to look at him and be like, yeah, I spent that. That was a real question. And I think that Dak pulled out the politically correct answer in that moment. But that silence that you were just talking about, Kyle, it was very indicative of the fact that he understands that his team is not where they need to be in order to be competitive in this league and to have the outcome of the season that they're hoping for.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I got the answer, to that question he's asked.
What is it?
The answer is you got a Cowboys offense that can play with anybody in the National Football League. That'll be able to get you or have you in games in any situation. But you got a defense that's consistently inconsistent. And for me, that formula, that's not a formula for success. That's not a formula that's going to have you winning many games in the National Football League. You got to be better on the defensive side of the football. This offense cannot carry you to where this team wants to be with that type of formula. It's just not going to work.
Then the second part of that answer is defensively, decide who you're going to be. You got to stop the run or either stop the pass. Now, you give up the big plays, that's okay, but if you ain't giving up but 94 yards rushing and no touchdowns, then we're okay. But you gave up both today.
Also,
and another thing.
And I mean, this is what it is. And what I would imagine is a little hamster wheel in Dak's head kind of going around in circles. To your point, Kyle, your offense is the top of the league.
Yeah.
Top of the league offense, bottom of the league defense. The law of averages says you're going to be on the bottom half of the league as well.
That's part of it, and that's where you've got to find some level of success and your schedule doesn't get any easier. It's going to continue to get tougher, and you take on a team that was in the NFC title game last year this upcoming week. More to come here from Cowboys OT. Isaiah Stanback's going to break down some film when we come back. You got to get over the telestrator, Isaiah. Get over there. Hustle up. Welcome back into Cowboys OT here from the Globe Life Studios at the Star in Frisco alongside Barry Church and Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. We've got Isaiah Stanback. He's over there at the telestrator already. He ran all the way over. He just now got there, but he's time to break down a little bit of film here, Isaiah. What are you taking a look at from this one?
I can tell you what, I'm not in shape like I used to be, but we're going to talk about exactly some of the plays that caused some issues for the Dallas Cowboys in their loss today against the Carolina Panthers. This play right here, you guys are going to see a 2nd and 9 situation. The Dallas Cowboys are lining up in what we call cover 2 defense. That means that this corner is going to be down. That corner is going to be down. These guys, these safeties are responsible for their particular halves. Okay, you guys are going to see it here. Boom. Right, then we're going to have the linebackers that are underneath, all right? So the linebackers are underneath. They're running their coverage here, okay? So, boom, these guys are responsible for these particular areas. I have this middle zone. You have this zone over here. And now what you're going to see here offensively, if this thing was to work for me, there we go, all right, is the receiver is going to run a nice little hitch route on the inside. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to consume the inside linebacker. Also, you're going to have a route on the outside is going to be a double move. He's going to try to get this safety, Donovan Wilson, to bite on the inside in route. However, Donovan Wilson should not be worried about that, okay? The guy that needs to be concerned about that are these 2 linebackers. Middle linebacker Murray, outside linebacker Amaris Leofau. So as we see this play out, all right, let's go ahead and run the route. Boom. Pause it right there. Okay, now we're going to have the guy hooking up on the inside like we just talked about. And we said that right behind him, he's going to have an in and an up route. As you guys are going to see, Donovan Wilson gets a little bit too nosy. Play it through. All right. I know it's out the screen, but boom, pause it right there. Bow. Now, all of a sudden, the man who was responsible for being the deepest man on that half ended up giving up the big boy touchdown because Ted McMillan ended up going in front of him, causing him to dive out, and then he went behind him. This man, Donovan Wilson, was a little bit too nosy, and that's why you were able to give up a big touchdown there. So that's what happened on that particular pass play to enable the touchdown. Now, on this particular play, the Dallas defense, the running game was a big problem. We're going to get right here. The main man right here is going to be at the defensive end position. That's going to be Marshawn Nealon. If Marshawn Nealon gets reached by this tackle, this play is off and running. You guys are going to see it right here. Ball is snapped. Boom, pause it right there. This in-man on line scrimmage does his job. He hooks up Marshawn Nealon. Everybody else is walled off. You guys see guys working up to the next level. Now you have a free runner here at the linebacker position, okay? And that's going to be Shamar James. He can shoot that gap, or he can try to shoot the gap right underneath here, okay? And if whatever one he decides, there's going to be somebody waiting on him. And as you guys see, this guard that's coming around, he's now coming around and he's hunting. He can hunt right here, or he can go ahead and continue to hunt and come out here and get Trayvon Diggs. Either way, this man right here, Rico Dowdle, who had 183 yards on the day, had lanes. He had running lanes all over the place. They couldn't do anything about it because their guys were blocking our guys. Now, last but not least, towards the end of the game, you're in a 4th and 3 situation. You're going cover 1. Nobody has any question as to who's playing cover 1 right here. You have the middle free safety. Manned up on the outside, okay? Manned up right here on Leggett. Everybody has their man except for right here, okay? You guys are going to see Kaiir Elam. Where is he playing right now? Based upon leverage alone, Kaiir Elam is outside of their receiver. Okay, well, on 4th and 3, where is the middle zone? Well, there's nobody in the middle of the field. This is the easiest pass for the quarterback to try to deliver the ball to. So what Dallas is doing is saying, hey, our guy's going to beat your guy to the ball, and we're going to try to run our linebacker underneath before you can get the ball off to your receiver. The ball's going to be delivered right here, right in between these 2 guys. You need your corners to be playing inside leverage to take away the slant. If you don't play inside leverage, you're saying my linebacker and my defensive back can sandwich your receiver before that ball can get there. Last time I checked, the ball travels faster than the players. That's not something that's going to be successful for the Dallas Cowboys, and it wasn't successful, and that's one of the reasons why you lost. 3 plays that were key and integral to today's loss. You saw it right there. Can't have it.
I think one of the things that stands out whenever it comes to the defensive performance is the lack of opportunistic stops that they were able to piece together. Because they had a couple of stops, but on those late down scenarios and in plays like what you just outlined, they just didn't have the right coverage or the right play time in and time out. Barry has a defense that's got to be infuriating because it means you're close, but you're still giving up big-time plays.
Yes, it's infuriating, and the coverage is one thing, but a reoccurring theme I saw, from this defense, or especially on these Rico Dowdle runs, where this man wasn't getting touched until 4 or 5 yards, down the line. I could see if he was making guys miss in the backfield or shrugging guys off him at the line of scrimmage, but he wasn't getting contacted until 4 or 5 yards down the line. I mean, you just broke down that pulling guard play. He didn't get touched until he was 10 yards down. I mean, it's just something you cannot have if you want a top-ranked rush defense. It just doesn't go together.
Defensive, number one. The coach have lined you up. They've given you the defense. My eyes tell me, my down and distance tell me, it's 4th and 3, it's 4th and 4. First of all, I'm moving up to the ball.
Yes.
I'm getting inside, and I'm putting my hands on you. If you're going to beat me, it's going to be outside, and I'm going to be ready to flip my hips and go. It's called being a football player that has played in this league. As far as the run defense go, don't get out leveraged. And that's what Nealon did. He got out leveraged on the first play, and now everybody's taking bad angles. This is football one-on-one that we're failing on.
You guys saw it right there. I mean, some of the things, especially on the 4th down play, I just can't wrap my head around the fact that on a 4th and short situation, 4th down, first of all, and to your point, Barry, and Barry and Nate, if you're going to beat me, you have to beat me.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you leverage. So first of all, I'm going to press you. Right, I'm going to make it difficult for you to get off the line of scrimmage because if I'm pressing you, it takes time for you to try to shake me again and gain a side of leverage. And then after you finish with that, then you have to deal with my physicality at the line of scrimmage, right? So you have to beat me twice. You have to beat me with leverage and you have to beat me with your physicality. And then you're going to have to try to beat my underneath linebacker. But what we're doing is we're giving gifts. We're giving the gift of free release because we're giving space off the line of scrimmage. We're giving the gift of free releases as well because of leverage. So if just defensively, Barry, there's certain things that you just have to eliminate, and we're not eliminating those things. We are giving gifts in the month of October. This is candy on the porch. It is not the 31st.
No, it is not. And we've got more Cowboys OT we have to get to. More locker room reaction. Isaiah, great job breaking it down. When we come back, we're going to hear more from the Cowboys' 30-27 loss to the Panthers. Welcome back into Cowboys OT with Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, and Kyle Yeomans. There was one positive for the Cowboys in this matchup. His name is George Pickens, and what he was able to do in this matchup, hurdling over defenders, 160-plus yards. He had another touchdown, 6 touchdowns, a new career high for George Pickens. I mean, he was, once again, a wide receiver 1 on the field tonight, Nate, and when it comes to what he's doing for his own future, a contract year, but also for this Cowboys team without CeeDee Lamb, it can't be undersold what he's done to this point.
This kid has been nothing but a positive. I mean, he runs routes sharper than I thought he would, and he's got a fluency about it, man, kind of like a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Like a basketball. He's just nice, man. He's just good people, Isaiah.
Yeah, it's smooth, man. And he has elusive speed. You saw it displayed on that slant pass that he took to the house. He's very methodical. It's almost early in the season, and I have to admit, I question the effort in regards to his route running. I question the effort in terms of his pass blocking. And I had come to find out that it's just his style, right? So he's just a smooth, methodical, just makes things look easy, makes difficult things look easy. And he's shown up in a major way. And you already mentioned it, Kyle. People forget this is a contract year for him. And I'm looking forward to seeing him continue even remotely a smidge of this success that he's had in these first 6 games, 6 touchdowns when CeeDee Lamb returns. I'm hoping that we see the same guy. I hope that he doesn't take a step back because if you can have a healthy CD, and you can have George Pickens that's playing at this level, this thing might go crazy.
Yeah, he's been everything, the Cowboys wished when they signed him here in the offseason. You needed him to be that big threat, that home run kind of guy that gets over the top of the defense. He did just that. You need him to be that, 1B to CeeDee Lamb's 1A. He done just that. CeeDee Lamb goes down. You need him to step up and be that wide receiver 1. You need him to be that big play guy all over the football field, being in the slot, being in the X, being in the Z. he's been able to do just that. I mean, this guy's setting himself up for a big-time future. Maybe with the Dallas Cowboys, we'll see, but overall, he's having a heck of a start of the season.
Let's hear what George Pickens had to say with the media following the loss to Carolina.
George, can you just first and foremost talk about the bittersweetness of having a career game like you did, but not walking out with the win?
You know, just like disheartening, because I definitely want to get the dub first over anything.
Was there anything that they were showing early on that let you guys pretty much know that you could have a big game like you had this?
No, not really, but we kind of knew it, especially what type of coverages they're going to play, like the cut guys, like the cut overs, lead post hanging, sometimes not cut the overs, you see what I mean? So they're a match team, zone match team. We kind of knew that. We just wanted to execute.
And what do you feel like the message in the locker room needs to be this week? You guys are 2-3-1. You got the Commanders coming up, they're coming at home. Just what needs to be the message?
Definitely finishing. I know I always talk about resiliency, but that's part of finishing. So definitely finishing, yeah.
How much more of a spark would it be? Obviously, it's going to be a spark. How much more of a spark would it be if CD can get back on the field next week, especially considering that you and Dak have now found complete chemistry?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an increase, you know what I mean? With him coming back with a playmaking ability that he got, it's definitely going to help us, let alone possibly Turb and a lot of other guys, too.
George, what's the frustration level right now?
A career day for George Pickens goes for naught. The Cowboys fall on the road 30-27. More Cowboys OT. We'll hear from the defensive side of the ball next.
Rico went for a lot. I lost track of the yardage that he had today, but just what were they doing with the run scheme that was giving you guys some fits?
They just, they played better than us. They controlled the ball. Just did a great job at controlling the ball, running the ball. We got to just clean it up.
Did anything they do catch you guys off guard, or did they do what you saw on film during the week?
Yeah, we got to just clean it up.
How frustrating is it though?
So Kenny Clark talking about that defensive performance, and it wasn't a good one, both from a passing game standpoint. Bryce Young was able to do some good things, but really the run game is where it struggled the most. And Barry, I know you've talked about this run defense the last few weeks. What is going wrong now after Dallas seemingly had that fixed a couple weeks ago?
You can't be flash players. And what I mean by that is you can't go out there and show out for, one quarter, one half, maybe one game. You got to be consistent. You can't be hot one game, then the next game you get completely dominated. Inconsistent defense is going to get you beat week in and week out in this league.
It's about who has the hands inside, who can strike first and play your gaps and come downhill as linebackers. You'll be okay.
Yeah. That's the reason. Yeah, there you go. That's it.
That's my answer. That's my answer.
That type of day here for the Dallas Cowboys and Cowboys OT. When we come back, we're going to hear about the return of Tyler Smith. It didn't go the way that they necessarily planned on that side of the ball either. More Cowboys OT after this.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Tyler Smith back in the lineup along with Tyler Guyton on that Cowboys offensive line. However, there was still not a ton of success running the football for the Cowboys in their 30-27 loss to Carolina. Here's what Tyler Smith had to say.
How'd you know? What was up with the run game, you think?
We just didn't execute the way we needed to. I think they had a great plan in terms of stopping us and preventing us from having those efficient runs. And that's just something we got to work on in practice, is getting more efficient at dominating those difficult looks. But kudos to them. They do what they're supposed to do.
2-3-1. What do you guys do now? How do you right the ship?
We win next week. That's all you can do. You go on to work, you look at the tape, figure out what you got to correct, and you go win next week. You keep winning until eventually we get to where we need to go.
What frustrates you guys are so up and down right now?
I think what frustrates me is just, I know we can execute and we can beat anybody. It's just a matter of, doing that. I think that's the most important thing. It's just week to week, continuing to work on the fundamentals of things, continuing to see things coming, continuing to slow the game down for us, and then just staying in the fight. Like we already know how these games can get. This is the NFL. It's any given Sunday type league. You have to be ready for anything. You got to be ready to go to fourth quarter, overtime, and things of that nature. So I think we just got to be consistent with that for sure.
Shotty said you guys weren't physical enough on both sides. Is that, when you hear that, he said he told you guys that.
I mean, yeah. I think we could have been better physically. I think we didn't run the ball the way we wanted to. And I see that as a challenge to us to see who we want to be. I think that's important. We have to be efficient in runs. We have to stay ahead of the sticks. I think that's something we just didn't do good enough today.
Yeah, how hard is it trying to stay ahead of the sticks when that first play of your last drive is a screen as they get up? And how much more difficult did that make that now?
I mean, it is difficult, but I think it's a matter of execution. Like, I'm not going to reveal all the keys, but I think, if I had done something better on that play, it might have been more successful. Now, it's a woulda, coulda, shoulda now, but it's about the details of things, doing stuff the way you're coached. And when you do get those exotic looks, just building that chemistry and knowing what to do. So I think we could have been better there.
You guys have had so many close games, and the losses outside the Chicago game were all close too.
Mm-hmm.
Does that kind of illuminate the importance of details?
It absolutely does. I think we have to dominate every opportunity that we get. And it's just a matter of being consistent with it, too. I mean, you're only going to get the ball so many times. They were running the ball extremely well. They were staying ahead of the sticks. And they were making long drives. So I think every opportunity we get, we just got to dominate the right way.
Your thoughts on it?
Tyler Smith makes his return. Tyler Guyton also makes his return. Booker and Cooper Beebe still working their way back from injury. But Nate, even in the pregame show, we were talking about the opportunity to get those guys back in the fold. It was going to bring violence. It was going to bring consistency. Didn't necessarily see that, at least when it came to the ground game. What happened up front for the Cowboys today?
Number 95, Derrick Brown, and number 94, Ashawn Robinson, got the better fits, got the better releases, filled the gaps a little bit better. Rosenboom, number 56, the linebacker, played a little bit harder and a little bit smarter, and they controlled the third down situations.
Yeah, that was surprising to me because, like you mentioned, Kyle, you get, your best offensive lineman back in Tyler Smith. You get your left tackle back, and it was just inconsistent play, especially in the running game. That's something that's been basically a staple for this offense these past couple of weeks with, Javonte Williams being able to run the football as well as he has. So, to me, it was pretty shocking when you got your, two of your better offensive linemen back and your running game was just non-existent out there.
Yeah, I agree with Nate. The Robinson and Brown combination up front, 94 and 95, those guys really set the tone. We knew those, at least Robinson was going to be a big problem. Brown was going to be a problem, number 95, but shoot, the other one, he stepped up as well. And those two up front really caused havoc and discouraged Brian Schottenheimer from calling any more run plays, which made Dallas one-dimensional.
Yeah, Dallas finishes with just 29 yards from Javonte Williams and really 30 yards rushing in this matchup. Not going to be enough to win the football game against a team that wants to run a time of possession battle between the two. When we come back, we're going to wrap this one up. We're going to take it, put it in the rearview mirror, and then you've got an opportunity to face the Washington Commanders this week at home. Wrapping up Cowboys OT after this.
Download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Cowboys OT was brought to you by Sleep Number. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Yeti, officially licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concession, and on Yeti.com. And by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com.
They weren't buckled up.
Oh, Rico Dowdle had some words to start the week. He does have the final laugh as Carolina defeats the Cowboys 30-27, the final score. Wrapping things up with Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, and Kyle Yeomans. And he earned the right.
He did.
He earned the right
Yes,
to
he
be able
did.
to say that. They weren't buckled up. That was what he said last week. Isaiah, we talked about it all week long. You thought Dallas would be ready for it. Kenny Clark said he thought they were ready for it. Everybody was ready for it except they weren't at the same time.
Just to give you context, for those that somehow don't know why that's relevant, after last week's game where Rico Dowdle went off for over 200 yards on the ground, he talked to the media and said, they know what's coming. They better buckle up. So now, after the game against the Cowboys, in which his team is a victor and he had over 180 yards on the ground, he said, they didn't buckle up.
There's the context from Isaiah Stanback.
They know.
All I can say, my mom used to tell her, hey, boy, you better put on that seatbelt. You should look at the back seat. That's all I can say, man. The jokes are on now, bro.
And that's the case. That's what happens whenever you have a game like he did. And give him a lot of credit. He did something that hasn't been done by an undrafted player since the NFL merger. Back-to-back games with over 200 yards from scrimmage. And he earned the right to get there. Where does Dallas go to take a step away from that and to slow it down? Because it's not slowing down anytime soon. They've got Washington coming to town this next weekend.
Yeah, Washington's explosive. But as a defense, this is where you got to get in the film room. You got to go down there and you got to break this down. You got to see why are our ends getting hooked against the runs? Why are our linebackers not coming downhill? Or when linemen get up to the second level, why are they just, Velcro to those guys? They're not getting off of blocks. What's going on in the secondary to why there's so many blown coverages? I know it's week 6, and these are things that you would hope to have hashed out, within the first couple weeks, but here we are. So defensively, you got to get in the film room. You got to see where, as a coordinator, you can put your players to win. And right now, that is not the case. I mean, with these blown coverages, with these runs, over 200 yards total on the ground, that's unheard of. 6.1 yards averaging for Rico today, that's just not acceptable. So you got to get in the film room, and you got to break this thing down and see if you can move forward.
The thing about it, the last 2 weeks you've played average quarterbacks. You're finna face a true up-and-coming young stud. So, Coach, you do have to find a way. Coach Eberflus, you have to decide. You're gonna 9 men on the box, you're going to put 6 or 7 guys on the back end. But you got to make a decision. This quarterback demands it.
You're about to face 2 electric offenses.
Oh, yeah.
Your next 2 games. You have the Washington Commanders and you have the Denver Broncos. If you didn't buckle up this week, you better get a 5-point harness, because you got to identify what the issue is so that you don't get ran all the way over again.
Yeah. That's the big thing is you've seen Jaden Daniels out a couple times throughout the year.
He's not having a great year so far.
Well, he's been in and out with injuries, and Marcus Mariota's had to play in his spot. It's not the same, though, because now it's a desperate Washington team. And just like Dallas had an opportunity to gain a game on Philadelphia this week after Philadelphia falls to New York, Washington has a chance on Monday Night Football tomorrow night, and then they turn around and they play the Cowboys. They could be in first place in the division, whereas the Cowboys let that opportunity slip, because if they won today, Dallas, that game next week would be for first place in the division. Instead, Washington has a chance to win back-to-back and be in that spot. So there's a level of desperation there from Washington, but they've still got everything in front of them as well.
Yeah, and if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you can't look too far into the future. I mean, right now, you're not good enough to say, okay, that's a W on our schedule or whatever the case may be. You got to focus on the right here, right now. And you got to get back from, where they were today in Charlotte. You got to get back to Dallas, and you got to break this thing down and get answers to it. Because you have an offense that is one of the top offenses in the National Football League. Defensively, you got to catch up. And right now, they're too far behind to make this thing balance out. You got to balance it out somehow. And for me, it's getting in that film room and studying.
It's going to be an interesting one. AT&T Stadium, 3:25 kickoff on Fox in Week 8 of the NFL, or Week 7 of the NFL season. We'll be out at AT&T Stadium, starting with Cowboys pregame live at 2 p.m. Central Time. The Cowboys fall to the Carolina Panthers, 30-27, the final score. For Barry, Nate, and Isaiah, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying good night from Frisco.